Hi guys, my name is Jessica and I'm a certified health coach with Optavia. I found this amazing program over 3.5 years ago and it has completely changed my life. I sit here 55 pounds less than I did back then, and I'm happy to say that I've been sitting at this weight for over 2 years now. I get questions all the time about how I got my weight off, but I think I get even more questions now about how I keep it off, as people have been watching me on this journey now for a while. And my answer to them is usually the same things that I did to get the weight off are the same things that I have to continue to do to keep the weight off. It's those daily habits that we create over time and that we're consistent with, that continue to get stronger as we go, that are really the key to long-term success. So, it's things like eating a healthy breakfast first thing in the morning to really get your metabolism kicked off to a good start. It's drinking a lot of water, which is what we're going to talk about specifically here in just a few minutes. Eating every 2.5 to 3 hours so that your blood sugars remain stabilized throughout the day. You're not experiencing that ravenous hunger or those really strong cravings that can really get you in trouble. Really making sure that you get a healthy amount of sleep each night. You're dealing with stress in a healthy way versus turning to food to deal with those emotions. Keeping your body in motion versus being very sedentary throughout the day. So all of those things are really key, but I want to focus today on water. And I think a lot of people understand that it is important, but they don't necessarily understand why it's important. And so I just want to talk a little bit about just kind of the physiological things that are going on with your body to help you to understand that a little bit more. The human body is actually composed of somewhere between 50 to 65% water, which is a really big percentage when you think about it. Your brain in particular is actually about 95% water. Your blood is 82% water and your lungs are 90%. So taking this into consideration, you can clearly understand our need for this substance in our body. If you don't drink enough water, your body is actually forced to recycle dirty water, which is going to diminish the efficiency of every metabolic function in your body. And I don't know about you, but the thought of recycling dirty water in my body sounds pretty gross. So we want to continue to give it new, clean water. When you become dehydrated, your body becomes mentally and physically fatigued. I'm sure that you've all experienced this to some degree, especially if you've had a hard workout or you've spent a lot of time on a hot day, at a sporting event or something like that, or usually times people can relate specifically to it. You might feel dizzy, you may even start to develop a headache, and that's really because your water is vital to the overall performance of your body. And when your water level gets really low, you become less focused and you have a really hard time remembering things. So there's so many aspects of your body that gets affected whenever your water level in your body starts to get too low. Dr. A actually mentions in his Habits of Health book that we lose nearly 12 cups of water every day from our bodies. And if you're at a higher altitude or a dry climate, you lose even more than that on a typical day. That sounds like a lot to me. To give you a bit of a frame of reference, he says that your lungs expel 2 to 4 cups of water each day, and that's just with normal breathing. That's not with exercising. That's not in high altitudes or cold climates or dry climates. That's just normal breathing. If your feet sweat, which they all do, you can actually lose a whole another cup of water from your feet, which is kind of hard to believe. If you make a half dozen trips to the bathroom, then you can almost count on 6 more cups gone there. And just normal perspiration, again, not with exercise, but just how your body regulates its temperature throughout the day, is going to add another 2 cups to that total. So lots of water leaving your body, so we really need to focus on making sure we put that back. We often confuse signs of dehydration as reasons to eat instead of reasons to drink water. So the next time you feel dizzy or lightheaded, or you've got some muscle fatigue, or you start to get a headache, I want to encourage you to grab a glass of water, 8 to 12 ounces, and just give it about 10 to 15 minutes and see how you feel. Because a lot of times we tend to confuse our need for water as our need for food. So really kind of focus on that. Give it 10 to 15 minutes, like I said, and see if that'll do the trick. There are lots of benefits to drinking water other than just these obvious, oh, my body's made of water, so I need to keep it filled up. Is that water can be an appetite suppressant. It is an appetite suppressant that's natural. It's not in the form of a pill, and it will help your body metabolize stored fat. So a decrease in water intake can actually increase your stored fat. And you're probably asking, why is that? Well, your kidneys can't function properly if they don't have enough water. And so when they don't function properly, then some of their load has to be put on the liver. And one of the liver's primary functions is to metabolize stored fat into usable energy for your body. But if the liver is having to help out your kidneys because your body's not hydrated well enough, then it's not going to be able to, function at its full throttle, therefore not doing its job as it should, and it'll start to metabolize less fat, so those fat stores will remain, and therefore your weight loss is going to stop. So you can be doing all the right things for weight loss, and if your body's not hydrated the way that it should, it's not going to go anywhere. Drinking water is also great treatment for fluid retention. So if your body receives plenty of water, it's going to feel safe enough to release the stored fluid that it's holding on to, which a lot of people will feel in their hands and their ankles and their hips and even their belly. So giving your body more water will actually help it to be able to release the extras that it's storing up in case it needs it. Water can also relieve constipation, not a real popular topic, but if your body gets too little water, it starts to kind of siphon the fluid that it needs from internal sources, and your colon tends to be one of those primary sources, which can really make for a hard time with your digestion. So definitely a good reason to keep the water flowing. So many people decide to increase their water. This is true, but a lot of people don't stick with it. And, it's totally understandable because, if you've tried this, that within those first few days of drinking more water, that you start to run to the bathroom constantly, and it can be just absolutely annoying and definitely interfere with an otherwise, normal day at work or a normal day at home. It can seem that the water is coming out as quickly as it's going in, and many people just decide that it's not worth it. So what's really happening is that your body starts to flush out all of that water that it's been holding up for years, kind of in that survival mode. And it takes a while, but this is a really great thing. We want those extra storages of fluid to be released. And as you continue to give your body all the water that it could be asking for, it's going to be getting rid of what you don't need. So your body will figure it out. It doesn't need to save those anymore, and it's going to trust that the water is going to keep going. And if it does, it's going to get you to a point where you can return back to normal life. And that's because that flushing will cease. And they refer to this as the break point or the breakthrough point. So definitely hang in there. Like I said, I know it's annoying, but eventually if you can be consistent with giving your body the amount of water that it needs, it's going to figure it out, that it can kind of, slow all of that down, and it'll keep only what it needs and get rid of the rest. So tips to get it in. For me, it's having a bottle that you like. I in particular like this one because I'm able to close it and lock it, so I can take it with me wherever I go. I can throw it in a bag, not worry about it spilling out and getting everything wet. So find a bottle or cup that you like, that you want to be able to keep with you all the time. Make it a big bottle. So this one's a 32-ounce bottle. And the reason for that is because we tend to empty what's in front of us. So if you have a cup, a glass, a bottle, sitting there at your desk or near you, wherever you are, you're probably going to finish that relatively quickly. But the problem is that we're usually slow to refill it, to get up and just go put more water in it. So with a 32-ounce bottle, even if, I finish it pretty quickly and it takes a while for me to refill it, that's a significant amount of water already in for the day. The other thing that I recommend is having some sort of straw mechanism. You just tend to drink a whole lot faster, more volume in a shorter amount of time that way. So not everyone likes straws, but for me, it really helps to be able to get more volume in. I would say incentivize yourself with water as well. Make it a point to set a goal of X amount of water down before you can enjoy your first cup of coffee. or if you're looking forward to an afternoon snack, like look at how much water you've gotten in, and decide on where you need to be before you can enjoy that. So it's just set little benchmarks throughout the day of where you want to be, and just kind of incentivize yourself that way. I would also pick a few specific times throughout the day to drink a full bottle. So whether that's with your meals, which I think is probably a great combination because you're already sitting down to do that, or some other time. Personally, I like to take my bottle with me in the car. This thing pretty much stays with me everywhere I go. My kids get really stressed out if I leave the house and they realize that my bottle is still at home. Like, oh no, mommy left her water. So I like to take it in the car with the goal of finishing whatever's left before I get to where I'm going. And so just kind of make a game out of it, like just be intentional about it. Drinking water is strictly a discipline at the beginning, but now I know that if I haven't had enough water for the day, like I can't think straight, like I have to go get more, and I can't wait to get it. So I also, this is kind of a strange trick that I have, but I take this in the shower with me in the morning, and pretty much it's gone by the time I'm done. So that is a great way to just start my day with half of, the average recommended 64 ounces a day, which I strive for 100 ounces each day. What else? I think another important part is to remember that you want to try to stop drinking your water either a couple or a few hours before bed for obvious reasons. So you really want to front load your day instead of back loading it for that reason. So, water plays an important role in your body. Definitely lots of benefits to having it, lots of risk to not. And so just getting it in, figuring out what works for you, finding a fun bottle or whatever it is that you need to do to get it in, set goals for yourself, tell someone what those are so they can hold you accountable to it. And you're going to see some positive results really quickly.